Today, TORC, the Off-Road Championship Series, races into one of the most revered tracks in the country. The famed Bark River International Raceway, home to the most massive jump on the circuit, will send TORC trucks flying through the air at distances of over 200 feet over the Cooper Tire crest. This track is not for the timid. Drivers will need to risk it all if they want to have a shot at finishing on the podium. Stick around for TORC, the Off-Road Championship on NBCSN now. Welcome everyone to round 6 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP. Hi everyone, I'm Tess Sewell along with 4-time short course off-road champion Ricky Johnson. And the UP, well, that stands for Michigan's Upper Peninsula, which is a vacation paradise where folks from the big city normally come for some rest and relaxation. But Ricky, I don't think there's going to be any relaxation this weekend for TORC's elite drivers.
There has never been any rest for the weary up here. In the Wizard of Oz, we have lions and tigers and bears. In the Upper Peninsula, we have creeks, jumps, bumps, and unbelievable roost. Last year, we're looking here, we see a driver going into the creek. They pulled him out, he was okay. This morning, Sleeger goes end over the rise, because in some of these places, Tess, you can't see what's over the other area, so you have to adjust way early. He was okay. We'll see if he makes it to the main event, but this is not a place for the weak or the scared.
So we've seen just how tough the Bark River International course really is. And we've got lots of racing on tap for you here today. 3 classes. We've got our Pro 4-wheel drive, the Pro 2s, but we're going to start it all off with the Pro Lights. And for more on the Pro Lights, let's head over to Tony Bachhoven.
In the first 4 out of 5 Pro Light events this season, Doug Matag, CJ Greaves, and Jarrett Brooks have finished in the top 3 podium positions. Of those 5 events, Doug Matag has 2 feature wins, Jarrett Brooks has 2 feature wins, and CJ has 1 feature win. Why is that unique, you might ask? They're the 3 youngest drivers in the field. Doug is 20, CJ is 19, but the series point leader Jarrett Brooks is only 16 years old. So Ricky and Tess, I would say that in the Pro Light division, the youth movement is alive and well here this weekend.
Thanks, Tony. The young guns really having an awesome season. Let's head back to round 1 in Prim, Nevada. CJ Greaves in the lead there, but Jarrett Brooks having all kinds of trouble with the number 77.
But it was the number 33 of CJ Greaves bringing home the win in round number 1. He had that monster Toyota hooked up all the way to the finish line.
And there you see it, CJ Greaves celebrating the first win of our TORC season. But in round 2, Jarrett Brooks, he held it all together. The truck stayed in one piece. He takes the win.
But once we went to Charlotte, a little bit of trouble between Morris and Kincaid. Morris going over and back on his wheels, keeps rolling, but it was Kincaid that ended up stopping. Doug Matag brought home the win.
Then round 4 again in Charlotte. Here we go. Kincaid again, this time ending up on the back of Matag's truck. And look at this, getting into it with Sleeger's, going for a wild ride.
It was one wild ride for Keegan that ended his day, as we'll see later. He wasn't happy about that, but it was these two, Doug Matag and Brooks, that went back and forth for one heck of a main event.
So Jarrett Brooks putting in a great run. He is our current points leader in Pro Light. Jarrett Brooks celebrating the win in Charlotte. Pro Lights on the track, getting ready to go. There is Keegan Kincaid, who has had, well, let's just say, a very exciting season so far. And Kincaid hoping to do a lot better today in round 6. But let's check in with round number 5 yesterday here at Bark River.
Yesterday, a lot of action going on up front. We see here Doug Matag, also CJ Greaves and Keegan Kincaid getting into each other. Now, is this payback or was it just a racing incident? CJ gets into Keegan, Keegan goes around, and he does the right thing. He stops. But here, a little bit later, we see that CJ Greaves has to do a stop and go. So out in front, has to go through the pit for rough driving.
So black flag there for CJ, which cost him the race. But now the battle, Matag again and Keegan Kincaid.
Keegan Kincaid, watch, he bounces as it comes down, bam, it pops the bead on his tire, and you can see the tire flopping. He starts to fade to the back of the field. So it was all about Doug Matag out in front and running really, really strong.
So Matag takes the win in round 5 here in Bark River. Keegan Kincaid just unlucky yesterday. He was really putting in a good charge, hoping to do better here today.
Well, up front, we got Luke Johnson on the outside pole, and we also have Brad Level up front. So these guys, they did invert the top 6. So that was 5th and 6th in qualifying, puts them on the front row. Behind them, the 2 guys that were going tooth and nail yesterday.
So the blue truck there, that is Johnson on the inside as they roll around here, getting ready for this rolling start at Bark River International. And here we go. You can see the orange cones to the left. That demarks the start. And we are underway. Pro Light Racing at TORC.
Luke Johnson getting a slight advantage over Doug Level. And here, Doug Matag coming right in with him, and CJ Greaves on the outside. But Luke Johnson, over-rotating, going around. Tough break for Luke.
Oh, no. Johnson just laying on a little too much there on that right-hander. But here we have, look at this charge coming through to the front. All of our front runners in the series points are up in this mix.
Yeah, we see the same guys that were battling hard yesterday. Brad Level, who is a defending champion, not last year, but the previous year, didn't have good luck yesterday. But rounding out the top 5, it actually in 6th place is Jesse Johnson. He's moved up quite a bit in those first 2 turns, but it's Brad Level out in front now.
Kincaid sitting in 3rd place. You saw him lean on CJ Greaves just a little bit earlier there, kind of pushed him out of the way. Level, though, is trying to hold off the charge of Doug Mittag, and then Kincaid behind those 2.
The first couple of guys, as they're going around, watch, they're looking for dry spots because they groom the track and then they throw water down. So the guys will run a little bit wider lines because the outside cushion is not real heavy yet. And you also got to make sure that you don't do what happened to Luke Johnson, spin around on the inside.
Oh, so Mittag cuts off Brad Level.
Actually helped Level out. Level got a little bit sideways. Doug came in and actually tipped his nose and saved him from spinning around.
Tony can add a little bit more on Level. Tony.
Oh, well, as Level just about over-rotated, got into another truck. What I was going to tell you guys is he was telling me yesterday morning that they've been fighting carburetor issues. They've been fighting electrical issues. So yesterday they struggled again. He was just hoping that he could get out on the racetrack and focus on driving instead of trying to figure out what all these mechanical issues are.
Speaking of mechanical issues, the 33, the black monster truck of CJ Greaves, looks like it's putting out an awful lot of... Is that smoke?
Yeah, CJ Greaves spitting out a lot of smoke. That could be tranny, that could be oil. With this roost, the first couple laps, it does fill up the coolers quite a bit, but it doesn't seem to be slowing CJ down too much.
So Doug Mittag currently in the lead over Keegan Kincaid. We're looking back right now at this battle for 4th and 5th between Brad Level and CJ Greaves. Greaves in the black and green truck.
These 2 drivers yesterday were battling for the lead test, and right now, Doug Mittag, yesterday's winner, but Keegan Kincaid was very, very fast. Unfortunately, we don't want to call it a sophomore jinx because he's been around for a while, but it is his first year of defending a championship.
2013 Pro Light Series champion, Keegan Kincaid, the number 7. Oh, Mittag, a little bit of a mistake there.
In the same place, Tess, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but the same exact place that he passed Brad Level is what happened there. So right now, these guys going tooth and nail.
And amazing, through this season, we have seen Kincaid fighting with Doug Mittag, and we've seen all kinds of hijinks. He literally landed on the back of Mittag's truck back in Carolina, and here he's just trying to find a way around.
Yeah, it's a tough call because you see how heavy this roost is, and when the guys go out and they get into it. As I said before, the only thing that's worse is if you're following a hydroplane and you get that roost of water coming at you. This actually will slow you down. It hits your car, slows you down, but it's also doing damage because it's filling your radiators, even though they're in the back, full of sand. So you don't want to mess around like in other car racing where you can draft. You need to get in front, and these trucks love clean air.
So 1, 2, and 3, Mittag, Kincaid, and we haven't talked about him a lot yet, but Jarrett Brooks, the number 77, our current points leader in Pro Light, doing well. Keegan Kincaid, though, really, he's just so hungry for this result.
Yeah, and Jarrett Brooks rounding out the top 3. Now remember, we have a competition yellow, which at first when I was a racer, I'll be honest with you, I hated it. I wanted to get out front, establish a big lead, and enjoy my race. But now, since Jim Baldwin started that, we race to the halfway point, and then we race to the finish line. So right now, Jarrett Brooks, very, very smart, staying out of the mix, letting those 2 guys do what they need to do up front, and watch for him at the end of the race.
Well, he's probably seen enough this season of those 2 trucks tangling, and if I was out, just sit there waiting wait until they do something wrong and just pop right on by.
Exactly, but they are both driving very, very fast. It's not like Brooks can catch them and drive around at any moment. These two guys are blistering fast right now. They're running 128s right back and forth, 128.9 and 128.8, so they are flying.
So in the lead, Doug McTagg, second place, Keegan Kincaid, then Jarrett Brooks, the white truck right behind them. And again, Kincaid is just trying to find that way past. He really is nosing in on almost every lap, but McTagg holding his ground pretty well.
Yeah, I've known Dougie McTagg for quite a while. Watched him. He grew up racing razors and all different kinds of stuff. The kid is an animal behind the wheel. Here we're looking at Jarrett Brooks coming down off the off-camera, do the double jump, going into the what they call cemetery turn. These guys are going about 85 miles an hour through there. You think that's not fast because that's what your Prius will do?
But it's sideways.
But try it sideways with a bunch of other guys, a bunch of other egomaniacs next to you.
Here we go, Kincaid taking a look again, this time on the inside.
Right now, Keegan is the fastest on the track. He seems to be able to fall back and catch up to Doug, so he might loosen him up a little bit, rub him sideways, and then stick a nose in on the inside. So what I'm thinking Keegan's going to do is shoot to the outside and then come up the inside. But nope, made me a liar. Goes right around the outside of him. So Keegan is the truck on the move.
It's almost like he's trying to square off those corners a little bit and get some traction on the exit.
Well, we've talked about it. This is a lot like a motocross track, and on a motocross bike, you can throw it sideways and the square turns off, but with the weight and the lean of the vehicle, you just got to keep momentum. So now we have Keegan Kincaid with a power move around the outside, and now 2 lengths in front of Doug McTagg.
Now, we saw that Keegan Kincaid was fastest on the track when he was behind McTagg. Can he now put some distance between himself and the number 81 truck as the 77 of Jarrett Brooks is now working the back of McTagg?
Exactly. We talked about him laying back. Well, he's tired of laying back. He sees that Keegan has gotten by, so Jarrett Brooks is going to work after his teammate. That is an awesome shot right there, and I got to tell you, Tess, it's one of the coolest feelings in motorsports to come flying over that right-hand turn. It's completely blind. You're sideways here. Power move by Jarrett Brooks, coming to the inside, showing a little respect as a teammate, not taking out his partner.
So there, Jarrett Brooks, the white number 77, was just a hair away from leaning on Doug McTagg to get by. But still, those two are not letting Kincaid get away by any means. 1, 2, and 3 are all within a second of each other.
Exactly. Well, and then that goes. A lot of times a smart racer, when a guy gets by you, you watch and you do whatever he does, and that's what Doug McTagg is doing.
Oh, a little punt there from Brooks on McTagg as he slowed down into that corner. So I think Jarrett Brooks may be getting a little bit impatient.
But right now, this Bark River track is really, really good. We're coming up at the competition yellow here shortly, but these 3 drivers it looks like a drift competition at high speed over big bumps and jumps.
So Keegan Kincaid, the number 7, still in the lead as they will come around to our competition caution at the end of this lap. And that will have them all then lined up nose to tail. And here we go, competition caution. Keegan Kincaid there putting in a great race up to the competition caution. And for more on Keegan, let's check in with Tony Buckhoven.
Well, guys, I think what's helped Keegan is he had to run a few laps behind McTagg and couldn't get by him. He had to search around on the racetrack. When he made the pass for the lead, he was 4 wheels over the cushion, so now he knows where his truck will work best. But where it didn't work best was in Charlotte. He had a lot of trouble there.
It's been a frustrating start to the year for me. Me and Morris got together, I kind of got into him. I was a little frustrated in the race. Got into him, both of us rolled over. He ended up rolling on his wheels, kept going. I ended up on my roof and oil started pouring out. Sunday happened to get in with Doug McTagg. You know, we were racing, it was just a racing incident. We hit tire to tire, so it was like an open wheel car. We went flying into the air, car shut off. As soon as I landed, just the jar of the truck shut it off and got it fired back up, running around back of the pack where, you know, everybody's kind of back and forth back there. You don't want, that's not a spot where you want to be.
So he was coming through the field. We went through the right-hander. I believe he passed me right there through the whoop section, and I was right on his bumper as we hit the jump.
Jeff Schlegers, I don't know what he was thinking, if he thought he could race with me or what, but ended up drilling me in the side, rolled me over 3 times, and that kind of ended our day right there.
I was running my line, ran the same line, went off the jump the same way that I had every single lap before that, and basically just got into it. Nothing I could do.
Really frustrating weekend for me. Something I got to put in the past and move forward and not think about those situations and go out here in Bark River and hopefully get a couple wins.
So at the competition caution, Keegan Kincaid leads them out over Doug Mittag and Jarrett Brooks. CJ Greaves, we thought maybe he had a little bit of trouble there, but he's hanging on to 4th place. And they are coming around to the green flag that will start these final 5 laps of racing in our Pro Light category.
Well, anybody that had problems at the beginning, we'll see what happens. To round off the top 10, Sylvester was in 10th, Dismore in 9th, Morris in 8th, both Johnson, Jesse, and Luke in 6th and 7th, so let's go racing.
So here we go. They have passed the cones, and Keegan Kincaid leads them out. Oh, Jarrett Brooks all over the back of Doug Mittag trying to get that 2nd place, and CJ Greaves now also taking a look.
CJ Greaves now climbing all over the back of Jarrett Brooks. That gives Keegan Kincaid just that little bit of breathing room, so now he can run as much of the track as he wants. He's not worried about someone torpedoing him in the corner.
Oh, Jarrett Brooks shorted that double right there and drove the front end in. Jumping a little bit short here.
Yeah, it's one of those things. As the track starts to go away, you have really hard pack and rock underneath Tess and the soft dirt on the top. See, now that Doug Mittag has to watch that because that will blow the tire out. These are DOT tires. In Pro 2-wheel drive and Pro 4-wheel drive, we have custom tires that can take this side load. We saw yesterday what happened to Keegan Kincaid. You side load these tires too hard, you're going to blow them apart.
So Keegan Kincaid now putting about 10 truck lengths on the rest of the field, and well, the rest of the field are actually really charging behind him. CJ Greaves taking a look there at the number 77 to Jarrett Brooks for 3rd. There goes Luke Johnson. He's coming through right now in 6th, right behind Brad Lovell.
Yeah, he passed Brad Lovell through the S's, and so now he's back behind CJ Greaves. So as my son, yes, I am biased, he needs to go to work and watch those guys in front of him and try to reel them in because the yellow is over. We're going all the way to checkered flag.
And that small mistake from his pole position there, spinning on that first corner, he's managed to...
Small mistake? That's actually a huge mistake.
To retain his position, and I know, I'm sure, Papa will have a few words with Luke after the race.
We'll talk about that after the race, but back to the leaders, and now we're watching CJ Greaves. We did see some smoke at the beginning, but he pulled it back together. Here we're watching Luke Johnson and Brad Lovell going back and forth. He cleans the double, very good. So right now, he just has to worry about Brad behind him and go after those guys in front of him.
Keegan Kincaid, the 2013 Pro Light champion, had a rough start to his season, but he's in the lead so far. You're watching, though, Luke Johnson and Brad Lovell, and Johnson actually now putting a little bit of distance between himself and Lovell, trying to chase down CJ Greaves.
This is one of the tracks that Luke has liked the most. He likes the speed. He did really well here last year in the buggy, and this was the only place and his first win in a Pro Light 2 years ago, so he does dig this Bark River track.
Oh, Jarrett Johnson almost trying to block the inside there, going right up on the bank. CJ Greaves right behind
Brooks,
him.
And slight correction there. We got a couple too many Jarretts out here, but Jarrett Brooks is running hard. He's working all over the place, and CJ Greaves is now, do I go left or do I go right? But I have to try to stay out of the roost because you can't see when you're back there getting all the dirt thrown in your face.
So there, Brooks just trying to find the inside on Doug Mittag. But Keegan Kincaid is in the lead in our Pro Light here from Bark River with a lot of hard charging trucks behind him. Can Kincaid hang on and finally win one? Find out when we come back. Welcome back to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP from Bark River, Michigan. You can see Keegan Kincaid just going out of the frame there. He is our leader, but what a race we have for 2nd place.
A 3-way dice. You got Doug Mittag up on the cushion and Jarrett Brooks coming in. Not so polite this time, and here comes CJ Greaves down the inside. Who's going to get the run through the S-turns?
Oh, 3 wide as they come into the S's, and how did they make it through there?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
But I think
trouble for Jarrett Brooks.
I think we lost a tire on Jarrett Brooks. What I was saying earlier, you can't land these trucks completely sideways. And with CJ Greaves coming in on him, that knocked him sideways. And you could see that tire is smoking, and he blew out his right rear.
And there, really, Brooks was leaning heavily on Doug Mittag, the number 81. You can see there with CJ Greaves. And Greaves just saw an opening and went for it.
Jared Brooks, here comes Brad Level going by when you got this, but he is close to the pit, but unfortunately, once again, we are past that yellow flag, so he's gonna have to go to the back to get that tire fixed.
So that is very disappointing for Jared Brooks, and what that might mean is that at the end of this race, there could be a different leader in the Pro Light points.
Right now, Doug Matag's still doing work, but you can see that Keegan Kincaid in that red number 7 truck. So if you're wondering why he has a red plate and everybody else runs yellow, that's because he's the defending champion, to give him a little bit of a different look. But Doug really landing sideways. I think he's going to be wear his tires out, to be honest with you.
I think he's feeling the pressure there from CJ Greaves behind him. And here we see Luke Johnson.
Yeah, something happened to Luke. He's in the back. Now he's getting lapped. So I don't know what happened. It looks like he's under power, but down quite a ways. He's all the way down in 18th. So Keegan Kincaid is now lapping up to 18th place.
So we'll try and find out later what happened to Luke. And actually, Luke Johnson and Jesse Johnson both dropped right down the standings.
Yeah, there could have been some contact back there, but who knows. But right now, Keegan Kincaid is running a flawless race. He's using the cushion where he needs to, running really solid across the blue groove. So he's doing an awesome job while these guys are taking care of each other.
CJ Greaves in the black truck, Doug Mittag in the red and white truck. And they really are putting up quite a battle here for second place.
I like what CJ's doing. He's using the inside, the outside, trying to work around, but also I like what Doug is doing as well. He's just holding his line. He's not trying to block. He's just trying to drive as fast as he can, and that's what you want to see with these young racers, is guys that just try to go fast, and if somebody puts a wheel on you, that's part of the racing.
So Keegan Kincaid still in the lead. And there you see the white flag. There's one lap remaining in our Pro Light race. Luke Johnson, of course, give a little bit of space there to let the leaders come through. He's one lap down. Keegan Kincaid, could this be his day to finally get a win in our 2014 TORC Championship season?
Right now, if I had some money, I'd put it on Keegan Kincaid. He is running smooth, smart, and he's been here before. He's won the championship, so he knows what it takes.
He is almost 2.5 seconds ahead of that red and white truck of Doug Mittag, who is still holding off CJ Greaves, and I think Greaves is going to have to make a pretty desperate last-minute attempt to get past him.
Yeah, and CJ's known for it. CJ is an aggressive little racer, comes from a motocross background, so he's definitely going to give it a shot, and here he goes.
Is it going to hold? He leans on him. CJ Greaves makes the pass for second place.
Strong power move for CJ Greaves. He set that up well. Came up the far right side, shot to the inside. So really a spotter can't tell you what to do. Right now, Doug taking a look on the inside, but he would have had to completely bonsai and blow him out of the corner. So a lot of respect right there.
So Mittag doesn't manage to get past there. CJ Greaves holding second place. But it's all about Keegan Kincaid today, who will come across to take his first win in the 2014 TORC season. Finally, he manages to get through a race clean. Kincaid takes the win here in Bark River. So Keegan Kincaid finally gets one. Our 2013 champion now is on the race for the 2014 championship. TORC, the off-road championship on NBCSN, is powered by AMSOIL. For any engine, buy now at amsoil.com. By Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control. With over 50 ready-to-race models to choose from starting under $200, it's affordable family fun from Traxxas. By GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. And by Cooper Tire, an official partner of the TORC series. Pro Light Racing in the books, and Keegan Kincaid finally gets a win. Wow, that was a great win for Kincaid. He's down with Tony Buckhoven.
What a difference a day makes, Keegan. Boy, a 2.5 second lead. What a win, but take a look at this. Left front tire going flat. How'd you get it done, man?
I don't even know. I just had bad luck all year so far, and I'm just so proud of my team right now, and everybody. We've had some struggles, and to finally get up here back where we belong, you know what I mean? And I can't thank these Cooper tires held on long enough to get me through the finish line and for the win. And this tractor truck just been running flawless all year. Just little bit of things that have held us up and put us in the back a couple times. But we're up here now, and hopefully we can continue to be up here.
Well, the defending champion, guys, is back in winning fashion.
And there we go, great win for Keegan Kincaid. CJ Greaves, though, putting that last lap pass on Doug Mittag.
CJ Greaves coming in, racing hard all day long. Had some smoke at the beginning, but made that pass on the last lap. Great job for him. But Doug Mittag is now the current point leader, so Doug is staying consistent.
Well, talking of CJ, Doug, and Keegan, let's take a look at our VP Racing power moves.
Going to add in Jarrett Brooks, getting sandwiched right here in the middle. Right now he lands on the outside, it blows his tire out, but the power move has to go to CJ Greaves. Coming in 3 wide on the inside, making 1 pass, coming out.
So some incredible racing there in Pro Lights, and Keegan Kincaid walking away with that win. Now we move from the 600 horsepower Pro Lights to the 900 horsepower Pro 2s.
Here we got a little bit of situation that happened to us down in the first round. We see Ari Leindyke taking a hard spill, going end over end, side over side, lands back on his wheels, and we watch from the in-car, his steering shaft shears off. That's why his steering wheel came off. He broke his collarbone in this, knocked the net down, but he was okay to come back a little bit later. Here we see it broken, go into surgery, put some screws, some plates. He was back out in another week.
And here we are in round number 1. Chad Horde taking the win in that Boss Snowplow number 9. Round 2, CJ Greaves gets the win.
Round 3, once again, CJ Greaves. And wait a minute, what happens in round 4?
It's Groundhog Day.
CJ Greaves once again. So the dominant driver when it comes to wins is CJ Greaves. But that guy you see on the left with the Boss Snowplow is the current point leader because he's been on the box every weekend.
Chad Horde, always a major force to be reckoned with in Pro 2-wheel drive, which is coming up next. Welcome back, everyone, to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP, Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The Pro 2-wheel drives on the track. You're taking a look there at the monster Toyota of CJ Greaves, who had previously won 3 in a row. Well, that streak ended yesterday.
Yesterday, the other Kincaid, Jeff Kincaid, you see right here, Jeff coming in the inside. A little bit of a rough pass. So was this retaliation? Comes in, and they both go bam, right in the wall. You see Chad Horde going around taking the lead, but CJ Greaves comes around and still finishes strong.
So Chad Horde would get the win in that Pro 2 race yesterday, but not so lucky for CJ Greaves with that little bit of what they call rough racing out here.
Yeah, and that's part of it. That's the great thing about the TORC Off-Road Racing Championship is that these are fiberglass bodies. They're designed so when we have contact, they come apart. If they were steel like NASCAR, they might hold on and impel a driver. Here, they peel like a banana.
Ready to go green. You see the blue and white truck. That is Jarrett Johnson. The white number 91 of Nick Tyree next to him because the top 4 inverted from our qualifying rounds.
On the inside left, you see those 2 cones. Anywhere in there is the starting zone, and Jarrett Johnson takes the green.
Green flag for our Pro 2-wheel drive here in Bark River, and a great start for Jarrett Johnson.
He's got that Husqvarna Chevrolet out front, pulls about a 3 truck length lead. Tyree doing good, but the guys all seem like they'd be playing a little more polite at this point.
And CJ Greaves leaning there on the gunk truck of Ari Leindyke Jr. And 3 wide there, Leindyke, Steve Barlow, and Chad Horde. Looks like they all got through safely.
Steve Barlow getting pushed back, and I got to give that man some props. Did really well yesterday. Was sick, dealing with bronchitis, but he had that Caterpillar Ford up front and ended up on the podium in 3rd place.
So in front right now is still Jarrett Johnson over Nick Tyree, and then the hard-charging CJ Greaves right behind them.
The track, you can see they did not water it that well. They didn't throw water down on the inside because to make it too slick. So right now the track is coming in very, very fast. But Nick Tyree, very impressive at this point.
So you'll see there the black areas of the track. That is where the rubber literally has been laid down from these trucks. If they add water on there, it just becomes like an ice rink.
It is glass. You are exactly right. So here we see CJ Greaves looking up the inside. He actually, Tyree looked like he was
nice
trying to help
pass.
with the outside, but CJ just threw it right in there, back in second, and Tyree seems to be making a comeback.
And right behind Nick Tyree, the red bus snowplow truck of Chad Horde is taking a look. He wants to move through to third. CJ Greaves making a move now on Jarrett Johnson.
Yeah, CJ looking to the inside. Jarrett has the position on him, but CJ seems to pull right by, but the inside is open up for Jarrett.
He just couldn't hold that. CJ Greaves with such great and aggressive ability and a lot of power under the hood of that Toyota.
But also, you got to remember, CJ just got out of a pro light, so he knows exactly what this dirt is doing. Tess, that's the key to racing off-road, is knowing what the dirt's doing underneath you. And this guy, CJ Greaves, was out front.
Oh!
Chad Horde goes over hard.
Catches the inside of the turn there and goes over. So Chad Horde, who won yesterday and was our points leader coming in here.
Right now you see the fuel coming out. Now what that fire, what it was as he's going to start it, is dumping out the excess fuel, and then that burns and fires it up, and he keeps it going. But definitely shaking.
And you could hear the crowd here at Bark River cheering for Chad Horde. So he's going to have to limp that truck off the course. He will have a chance to take that into the pits and try and get the thing running again.
It's a full Courcelles, but look at the left front, how it's pushing it way up in the air. So something is bent, probably a shock inside. So we take another look. He comes around. As he goes to hook, it starts to get sideways. He comes up and he grabs a hold of that tire, throws him right up and over. He steers into it, and see how it's really hard, and it lands, bam, right on that wheel. And so what it does is it wedges the suspension up. So I think Chad with a bent or a broken shock.
And it looked like he was almost going to make it around there, and he just clips that tire on the inside, and that's what kicks the left-hand side of Chad Horde's bus snowplow truck up in the air, and he goes for a ride, and I got a feeling they're not going to be able to get him right back into this competition. So Pro two-wheel drive are on course, full course yellow right now. More racing when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP. Our Pro 2s are on track, but without Chad Horde, our current points leader, who had a big flip coming through the end of round one, lap one, now leading them out, CJ Greaves.
CJ with a great hole shot, getting out in front, using the cushion. Because right now, the track is pretty neutral. You know, they bladed it around. They brought the dirt from the outside back in. So right now, the track is a very raceable track. And we see Jarrett Johnson in second, Nick Tyree, and then Steve Barlow in the Cat Ford.
And really interesting that Johnson and Tyree have managed to hang on to those places they got. Jarrett Johnson was in pole position. Steve Barlow, though, in the Cat machine, is chasing them down.
Yeah, Steve Barlow did great, as we said earlier. He got on the box yesterday, so Steve Barlow, a great desert racer, great Pro 4 racer in the past, and now back in it in Pro 2.
So Barlow goes by. He's followed by Jeff Kincaid, but still, CJ Greaves leading this one out and starting to put a little bit of distance on himself and Jarrett Johnson.
It's funny, you watch those back wheels, when you talk about cats moving dirt, normally it's with a big blade, but Steve Barlow using a lot with his right throttle foot. Steve Barlow to the outside, and here Tyree back to the inside, and with Kincaid looking on the right.
So everyone looking for different lines here. Kincaid managed to take that outside line. He's now challenging Steve Barlow, trying to get a line on the inside.
But it's given Jarrett Johnson a little bit of time to move. So right now, Kincaid looking on the inside and makes the move and makes that pass stick.
So there, Jeff Kincaid making the move. He will now try to chase down Jarrett Johnson. Meanwhile, CJ Greaves still pulling away from this pack in the lead.
Steve Barlow still looking strong in that Cat machine, trying to hang on to Jeff Kincaid. We see Jarrett Johnson actually very impressed with him. Jarrett was struggling a little bit earlier this weekend, but now seems to have that Husqvarna Chevrolet figured out right now.
So at the start of the race, we saw Chad Horde take a wild ride and he is out of the race right now. For an update on him, let's go to Tony Bachhoven.
Thanks, guys. Luke Fleming, crew for Chad Horde. What's your assessment of Chad's truck?
It looks like it tore the shocks apart on the truck and broke the limiter strap, so it basically pulled the A-arms down and bent them, tore the shocks apart, so now they're just all collapsed.
We kind of had a feeling that it happened. You did claim that.
That's a tough deal. They might have to clip the front of that truck. You know, a lot of times they'll say, you hear in stock car racing, oh, they have to clip it, and that means where they cut it off right behind the front, right in front of the cab. But right now, Jeff Kincaid making a power move on the outside of Jarrett Johnson, right around the outside.
Absolutely fantastic power move there.
Yes, very, very strong. Which we saw Jeff. You know, Jeff is one of those guys this year and in the past year that is sort of checkers or wreckers, meaning that he's not doing anything stupid, but he's either out in front killing everybody or he's had some bad luck like he did yesterday. So I can't wait for this yellow flag to bring those two back together so they can finish this race out like they did yesterday.
CJ Greaves leading out our pro two-wheel drive race here at Bark River. Those monstrous 900 horsepower machines, and well, monsters make a lot of noise. How much noise? Let's check out the MagnaFlow sound of torque. Just love the sound of these machines. Jeff Kincaid currently in second place, put a little bit of distance between himself and Jarrett Johnson.
Yeah, right now, Jeff, I love what he's doing. He's moving around, trying a lot of different stuff. I don't think he's working so hard on trying to catch CJ at this point, but just trying to find the fastest line. This guy has won so many championships. Him and CJ's father, Johnny, were teammates for many, many years back in the Toyota days back in Pro Light. But right now, Jeff is looking for different lines, so when they bring them back together, he can go after CJ.
So at the end of this lap, we will have a full course yellow, a competition caution, brings all of these trucks back together, nose to tail, before a restart. So that is some smart racing from Jeff Kincaid, testing this track out so we can try and find a way around CJ Greaves.
Yep, and then as you can see, you can side load these tires a lot harder. Jeff's running Cooper. You know, there's a lot of different brands out there, BFG, Nitto, Maxxis, you know, but this is a short course specific tire. So they groove 90% of the grooves, and they all have their own patterns how they like.
There's Jarrett Johnson coming through in third, followed closely by Steve Barlow. Johnson really is hanging on well here.
Well, I've known Jarrett pretty much his whole life. You know, I grew up with Gary, his father, and known Jimmy and them. And Jarrett is one of those racers that is gritty. He's not afraid to get dirty, work on his vehicles. So he's one of those guys that when he's out on the track, he leaves it all on the track.
So coming through to the competition caution, CJ Greaves leading our pro two-wheel drive race here in Bark River. And there you see the yellow and red flying at once. That means they will all gather up nose to tail before we come through to the restart. Kincaid comes through.
See Mike Jenkins making a move right at the end. We see a little bit of steam coming out of Ari Leyendijk's radiator in the back. So is that a problem? But Mike Jenkins trying to do some work right before that competition yellow. So coming in on Nick Tyree, three-way battle. And it looks like Tyree, Leyendijk, and then Jenkins.
Well, you've seen a lot of thrills and spills in TORC racing so far, but these trucks are designed incredibly well and incredibly safely. And for more on that, let's check in with Tony Bachhoven.
At the first round of the TORC season in Primm, Nevada, Ari Leyendijk Jr. flipped his pro two-wheel drive truck 4 times. As a result of those violent flips, the steering column sheared off and his left arm flew out the window when the window net failed. After surgery to fix a broken collarbone, Ari decided to make a change to the safety features inside of the truck. And Ari, from my standpoint, it looks like the biggest change is the seat. Take us through what you did there.
Yeah, the first thing I did after Prim was improve the seat. I felt like that was the biggest thing that led to my injury. So I went to LaJoy, and the Joy seating made the seat for me. What's really cool about it, it's molded to my body. So as you can see, without these belts, I can't even move in here. And another really cool factor is this head surround. So the head surround prevents me from lifting my arms up in the air when I am flipping, if the steering column were to break again, and it gives me a place to rest my head if something were to go wrong, if the truck were into a barrel roll like it was in Prim. So I think for me, if I would have had this seat in the truck, I definitely wouldn't have 8 screws in my collarbone.
Well, not everyone in the TORC series has converted to a full containment seat like Ari Leyendyk Jr. Two-time Pro 4 champion Johnny Greaves runs a seat much different than Ari's. And Johnny, you don't have that apparatus around your head. Tell us about your seat a little bit.
Yeah, this is what's called a hard shell seat. You know, it's a prototype by Mastercraft Safety, and you know, it doesn't wrap around your head. I'm still having a little bit of a problem adapting to that, because you kind of get this, you know, where your head bops back and forth in there, and you know, rattles your brain a little bit. So I'm kind of an old school guy. I've been around where we used to run seats with not even a headrest, you know. So I still like to be able to move around and you know, see things. And you know, when Mark Jenkins lands in my window, I like my head to do that once in a while, so it keeps me limber.
Lots of differences in safety inside of these trucks, from seats to head and neck restraints to safety belts. It's always changing.
Thanks, Tony, and that's why these guys can go for such a wild ride and then just wander on out of the truck. Going green again here in our Pro 2-wheel drive. CJ Greaves over Jeff Kincaid, and then Jarrett Johnson in third. Here we go, coming to the green flag at Bark River.
Little juke side to side, and you notice CJ lined him up to the far right, so it didn't give him an opening on the inside.
Oh, Kincaid was trying to find a line around there, but again, CJ Greaves got the jump on the rest of the field.
So far, everything looking really smooth. Guys falling in line, and a little bit of racing in the back. Tyree and Jenkins going after it head to head. Here they come side by side. Looks like Jenkins is going to get the run around the outside.
And Ari Leyendyk also worked his way past Tyree, so Leyendyk has now moved up another position. Interesting to see, though, the design of that seat, the comparison between his and Johnny Greaves.
Yeah, it is. And like Johnny said, he is old school. He runs his belts a little looser than the other guys. He likes to feel it. He's a little bit more like when he rode a motorcycle. You know, kind of lets, you know, doesn't have his elbows up too high, but he does let it hang out. So here we're watching Jarrett Johnson in the Husqvarna Chevrolet. Actually, a very, very impressive run with him. And right behind him is Steve Barlow, and now we see Ari Leyendyk. But back to that piece, how awesome was Ari Leyendyk's hair in that truck?
And one of the most amazing things, if you had a freeze frame, you'd actually see this picture of Ari holding his steering wheel against the roof of that truck. I mean, the thing just sheared off. Yeah. But the only injury being that collarbone, it just is a real testament to the safety of these trucks and how hard they work on those safety designs to keep our drivers in good shape. And wow, Jenkins off track there.
Jenkins off track. When they say off the throttle, off the gas, off the track, off the gas. And he did a great job, because sometimes there's cables there, there's safety workers. You got to think about them first. So great job.
Tires, as Chad Horn found earlier.
You can find a tire up here in the UP, and next thing you know, you're on your lid there. But right now, great race for third and fourth place. Jarrett Johnson and also Steve Barlow in that cat machine going at it. This is awesome. That's what I love about these races, because we can only show you so much, but when you come to one of these things live, there is racing happening everywhere. So if you've never been to a live event, you got to get out here.
So you can see how they're working these corners in the hard stuff and the soft stuff. It really is important to get the tires right. Let's check in with Tony for more on that.
Well, you know, you guys just spoke about the different patterns of the tires. Here's a look at a couple of these Maxxis tires. Here's one that's not been on the track yet. There's one grooving style, a big, thick lug, then a short one. If you take a look at this one they've used it once already, but several different little lugs. So I would ask RJ, with the track starting to dry out like this, Ricky, which one of these patterns do you prefer?
Well, actually, what you're looking at, Tony, the one with your hand on it on the bottom, it's got the circumference grooves, those ones that go all the way around. That helps the driver turn. The one that's stacked up on top has a paddle groove, because you need drive going forward. don't want to interrupt the race, but here it comes.
Wow.
Jeff Kincaid, unbelievable move on CJ Greaves, and now Jeff Kincaid takes the lead.
I guess he made the right tire choice today when he got up. So Jeff Kincaid making the move in our Pro 2-wheel drive race against CJ Greaves, who looked like he was just going to run away with this thing.
Exactly, but Jeff Kincaid running very, very strong. As I said, you can never count this guy out. He's won so many championships, and right now he's on a high because his son just won the Pro Light race. So right now, Jeff Kincaid is the man on the move.
So this could be a great weekend for the Kincaid family. Look at that, he started down in 8th position, and we saw him before that competition caution working the track, trying to find out where it was going to give him grip, where he was losing it, and then he just bided his time after CJ started, caught him, passed him.
Yeah, but watch CJ Greaves. This kid's no dummy. He's watching right now and seeing where Jeff made the move on him. So we still have a lot of racing left. The cool thing about this racing series is here we got 2 completely different tire brands. They give them a spec. This is how they don't tell them how many plies or how many cords it needs to be, but this is the size of the tire. And you have a Cooper out front right now and a Maxxis in second. So everybody doing their own thing, and now off-road, they can run sideways, they can groove them paddles or circumference grooves, whatever they need.
And also a 30-year age difference between Jeff Kincaid, who's 49 in the lead, and CJ Greaves, a 19-year-old behind, and CJ now is coming on the charge.
Yeah, I told you, that kid is a sharp kid. You know, he and I had our differences in the past, but I gotta love him as a racer. He's very, very strong. So right now, I wouldn't pick a winner right now because they're both so fast and so strong, but it got physical yesterday, so let's see what happens.
Well, we saw CJ penalized yesterday for the rough driving, as it was described, and again, it was kind of a marginal call. Did he really punt him that hard, or was he just trying to race his way through?
Well, in the Pro Light, he did lean on him a little bit hard. And what they look at is once you get into somebody, if it's one-time contact and you spin them around, or if you get into them and you had an opportunity to roll out of the gas, and CJ did not when it came to the Pro Light penalty. But in Pro 2, they were both leaning on each other back and forth, so tempers flare, and I'm definitely one of those drivers that someone leans on you, you have to lean back. I'm sorry, penalty or not. If you whack me, I'm coming after you.
So Jeff Kincaid managed to pull out a little bit more of a lead on CJ Greaves, but Greaves going to take a look again.
What I love about the short course off-road racing, especially the TORC series, is that it's pounds per cubic inch. So you hear some of the trucks rev really high, like the Toyotas with Johnny Greaves and CJ Greaves. Also, you hear Kincaid's truck rev pretty high. These guys like to run lighter trucks with a smaller displacement, but they're still getting tons of horsepower out of the vehicles. But with the lower, 410, 390, 420, you have to rev it more to get the horsepower out of it, where some guys are running 460s, 436s, and stuff like that, where it's more like a tractor and it pulls.
And you really can hear those machines screaming as they come over the line. The white flag flies. This is the final lap of our Pro 2-wheel drive race here at Bark River.
And this is what you live for as a racer, even being out front or the one right behind, is that you want to battle to the finish line. So right now, Jeff Kincaid has done this so many times. And now CJ, even though he's a young kid, he's a veteran. He's won lots of races, and he's very, very fast. So do not count him out until that checkered flag falls. But right there, Jeff Kincaid a little bit faster through the S's.
So the local Jeff Kincaid in that number 4 Traxxas machine trying to hold off the 19-year-old CJ Greaves in that black and green Monster Toyota. Oh!
He swaps side to side through the rhythm section, or actually the unrhythm section, and now he gets back on it, and gets back on the horse and pulls a three-length lead.
And here we go, Kincaid really trying to hang on here through these last few laps. Unbelievable how much they can punish those tires, and they still seem to hang on.
What I love about Jeff is that he didn't go full protective mode. He didn't go to the inside and try to block. He's going as fast as he can, using the cushion as much as he can, going as fast as
he's going for the win.
Exactly. He's not blocking for the win. I love this when two racers put it all on the line, and that's exactly what happened.
And here we go across the finish line. Jeff Kincaid takes the win over CJ Greaves. Fantastic racing in Pro 2-wheel drive. We'll check in with Jeff Kincaid when we come back. Let's check out a GoPro Be a Hero moment. Yesterday in the race, round 5, CJ Greaves parks Jeff Kincaid into the concrete, but today, Kincaid makes that move on CJ Greaves. Eat dirt, kid. Jeff Kincaid takes the win here in Bark River, and look at that awesome GoPro shot at the finish line. Jeff Kincaid, your winner here today. And he is down with Tony Bachhoven.
And he is excited. His family and crew is down here. Jeff, what a difference today. Yesterday, you and CJ caught up down in the inside of the turn, but today you guys put on a wonderful race. Nice job.
Yeah, we had a great race today. You know, we had to start in the back from yesterday. Me and CJ got together. That's kind of a racing incident. Nobody wanted to give, and kind of spun both of us out. It shouldn't happen that way, but good, clean racing today. Made a good, clean pass on him, and here we are in the winner's circle. You know, can't say enough for Traxxas. Impact, you know, you feel safe in your truck. Things are great, you know what I mean? Fox Shocks ran great, and Cooper Tires, here I am finally. I got back to this winner's circle, and long time coming right now. It feels good for Father's Day. My son won earlier, and here we are, so celebrating for us, you know that. Woo!
The Kincaids are happy, but guys, one thing you want to look at here, we'll zoom inside the truck. You think these guys have it easy? Somebody else's body panel stuck way up in the inside of Jeff's truck. It's not easy driving one of these Pro 2s.
Thanks, Tony. There you have it. Jeff Kincaid over CJ Greaves and Steve Barlow. Great Pro 2 racing. Now we move on to the four-wheel drive, our Pro four-wheel drive category. And on the podium yesterday, Mark Jenkins. Tony Bachhoven caught up with him.
In 2013, Mark Jenkins and the Traxxas team really focused on getting their program much more consistent. Last year when they came to Bark River, he went to victory lane, and yesterday he went to the second place finish. Mark, what's been the key to your consistency so far this season?
I think confidence, Tony. Confidence has everything to do with expectations, and just you envision success, and you just drive to get there. Confidence is addictive, and I got a full load of it, baby. I'm coming through today.
But today they'll go for their 4th podium finish, but he wants to be number 1.
Thanks, Tony. You've seen what the two-wheel drive machines can do to this Bark River track. Now see what four-wheel drive can do. Pro four-wheel coming up when we return to Bark River. TORC, the off-road championship on NBCSN, is powered by CAT. The TORC Racing Series depends on CAT machines at each tour stop. Do what TORC does and choose CAT equipment for your next job. By VP Racing Fuels, where our passion is your performance. By Maxxis Tires, greatness from within. And by Husqvarna, the world's largest producer of outdoor power products, including chainsaws, trimmers, lawnmowers, and more. Visit Husqvarna.com for more information today. Getting ready for round number 6 of TORC, but let's take a look at the previous 5 rounds.
A mistake made by the defending champion that doesn't normally happen, flipped all on his own, end over end, round and round on his side. But he comes back. That's him without the skin, no monster body on there. Adrian Cheney, he's trying to go for the win, but Adrian Cheney pulls off round 1.
The wild man from South Africa took round 1 in Prim. Then in round 2, check this out, Mark Jenkins takes the Traxxas machine up and over the wall. That would put him out of the race.
That is a lot of pain, a lot of height. I mean, these trucks, you can do some freestyle, but not like that. But Johnny Greaves pulls off round number 2.
So here we go, round 3. We move to Charlotte, North Carolina. Greaves and Mark Jenkins again. Watch this. Mark Jenkins' wheel almost comes into Johnny Greaves' calves. Doesn't stop him. He still wins round 3.
In Charlotte, tons of action. Everybody is in the party. Scott Douglas is out front. Johnny Greaves, Adrian Cheney, Mark Jenkins, they're all going at it. If you notice, they're off one side of the track, back, forth, side to side, running into each other. It was one colossal race going on. Here we see Adrian Cheney going around, but it was Scott Douglas that brought home the win.
And then the final round 5 that we had yesterday, Johnny Greaves again managed to hold off Mark Jenkins for the win. Johnny Greaves leads our points. Our Pro four-wheel drive trucks on the track ready to do battle. And this should be quite an interesting race, Ricky. You can see sitting there in 6th place,
Mark Kawami takes the whole shot, but coming right down the inside is Mike Jenkins. He's going to pull off the whole shot here at Bark River in the Pro 4 race.
So Mike Jenkins leads them out. I was going to say, sitting in 6th place, Johnny Greaves, he needs to work his way through the pack again because our top qualifiers get inverted.
Well, and right now, with the field not being quite so big, Johnny Greaves probably patient on getting by these guys because he knows that he has a competition yellow and he doesn't want to tear up his equipment. But right now, the Jenkins brothers and Scott Douglas are out in front.
Mike Jenkins leading Mark Jenkins. And Mark really looks like he's coming fast, too.
Yep, and here comes Johnny on the outside of Kwame. Now he's looking around the outside of Adrian Cheney in that orange four-wheel parts truck, but it is a little bit dusty on the inside, so guys cannot see. And you see Scott Douglas having to lift. When you're going out there, that roost gets thrown out so hard, you have to come to a standstill. You can't see 10 feet in front of your truck, but it's Mark Jenkins who is pushing really hard, but Mike Jenkins, there's no love lost between these brothers as soon as they put a helmet on and get in there. I've seen them hit each other harder than they hit other drivers.
Unbelievable. The Traxxas brothers, Mark and Mike Jenkins. Mark really is trying to find a way around his brother, though. He's driving hard. This might be his chance.
Yep, he sticks a wheel in there, and he gets the nose up in front. The spotter is going to call clear because when you're driving, you're not looking out your side. You just trust your spotter 100%. So when you're passing somebody, they'll let you know still there. Like right now, they're saying, look in. He's on your inside. Still there. Still there. Hold your spot. Still on your outside. You are clear. So it's that kind of racing that gives you the opportunity to see out of the back of your head.
Oh, incredible. Right behind them, we saw that Johnny Greaves was giving Scott Douglas a hard time all over the back of that black and white machine of Scott Douglas.
So Scott Douglas is a previous winner, also a previous champion, multi-time desert champion, and also a multi-time cup champion. So the AMSOIL driver seemed to be struggling a little bit yesterday, ended up with having some troubles, but right there, almost spinning it around, almost goes backwards, but with four-wheel drive test, you turn into it and hang on. If that was Pro 2, he would have definitely gone around.
Scott Douglas putting all four wheels to work. For more on Scott, let's check in with Tony Buckhoven.
Well, guys, Scott told me yesterday that since we raced in Charlotte, they've been doing some testing at Crandon. They've had a couple trucks out on the track trying to find some advantages that they could bring here to Bark River. He feels like they found a few little things that will help them carry that Charlotte win momentum here today.
Thanks, Tony, and he's trying to hold off Johnny Greaves. Greaves leaning on him, though. Whoa! Yeah. Off the side of the track.
Well, they're kind of pushing and bumping and banging, and these two guys, let me just tell you, I raced with both of these guys last year and for the past 3 years. If you touch Scott Douglas, he is going to touch you back. Probably about 5 times harder than you touch him. So, Johnny, don't lean on him too hard because Scott is a big boy and he'll take a big swing.
Johnny Greaves in the black and green monster machine. Almost 3 seconds back from our leader, Mark Jenkins. He just cannot find a way past Scott Douglas. But lurking behind them, that orange machine, Adrian Cheney, always a contender. I think he's waiting to see what Johnny Greaves is going to do.
Well, let me just tell you, Tess, when you're racing with these guys in Pro 4, it's like pacing yourself in a bar fight. There is no pacing, man. As soon as you realize it's time to go, you go. Here we're seeing Johnny Greaves on the inside. You see how slick it is, and right there, Scott Douglas, even though Johnny had the position, was able to run the cushion and pull back out in front of him. So the cushion is the place to be right now.
So this, our Pro 4-wheel drive category, driving all 4 wheels with up to 900 horsepower.
Sorry about that, I about jumped on you there. But Adrian Cheney off the track. We got to watch these tires. We saw it happen to Chad Horde. You get off, these tires are great markers, but let me just tell you, it's a trampoline that sometimes can flip a truck.
So Mark and Mike Jenkins leading out our Pro 4-wheel drive race, but Johnny Greaves is charging hard to try and get up to the front. Will he make it? Find out when we come back. Welcome back to TORC, the off-road championship presented by AMSOIL. The throwdown in the UP from Bark River. Mark Jenkins is leading out our Pro 4-wheel drive race over his brother Mike Jenkins. They are then followed by Scott Douglas and Adrian Cheney. And you may be well asking, where is Johnny Greaves in this picture, who was actually trying to force his way through into third? Well, there he is.
Well, you can see him struggling. His right front tire is flat, but the difference that these have is like an inner tube, but it's also like a mini tire inside. They call it an interliner. So if we get a good shot, you can see that the tire is flat. It's blowing smoke all over the place. It's starting to eat the sidewall, and now Johnny decides to go in and go for the change. I thought he might wait till the competition yellow, but he feels confident in his pit crew to go in and make that change. Tony?
He is. Here he comes. Johnny Greaves makes his way down to the pits. They'll go. There's 5 lug nuts they've got to spin off of here. The crew has the new tire ready, but you're right, Ricky. The whole sidewall of that tire is completely cut, and when they get it pulled off here, we'll get a closer look at it for you so you can see it. But if you look just below the lugs on the tread, the sidewall, the smoke's coming out of the side, so it's definitely cut down, and they're getting it jacked up there. They've got the tire off. And the new one's going back on. No, the jack has fallen. The jack has fallen, and the front end is sitting on the ground. The crew's going around to the front to lift it up so they can get the jack underneath. And now they're starting to get it lifted back up, but this is definitely going to slow things down because now they've got to take a look at the suspension, and now they're getting it back up to where they can get that wheel and tire on. Boy, this has gone disastrous for Johnny Greaves. Ricky, this is not what you want happening as a driver when you're sitting here in the work area.
Well, even though Johnny Greaves is such a champion, you see him, he's in there, he's holding his calm, he's waiting because he knows he has time to get this done. Unfortunately for them, they're working on the grass, they're working in the mud, the jack fell over, it was just a racing situation.
Ready for green in our Pro 4-wheel drive. We've just gone through the competition caution. You can see right there, Johnny Greaves has joined the back of the pack. Mark Jenkins in that red and black truck leading us out.
Mike Jenkins taking a look on the inside of his brother Mark. These 4-wheel drives can hold the inside, but both of those guys, and here we got Scott Douglas making a look on the outside, then shooting the inside, and here comes the wild man, Adrian Cheney. Adrian Cheney to the inside gets around Scott Douglas. So yesterday, Adrian was very, very fast at the end of the race. So maybe he's in that mode. Get faster as the race progresses.
So we watch them all come across. Johnny Greaves sitting in the back of this pack now. He has to work his way up in 5 laps, so an awful lot of traffic.
He's already passed Mark Kwame. He's got his sights set on Ross Hook at this moment. But right now, I got to give it to this guy. Mark Jenkins is running a great race. I know that he works with my crew chief on the West Coast is Charlie Schleve, and they've made some changes to this truck, and it is working.
It's working really well. Mark Jenkins took 2nd here in Bark River yesterday in round number 5. And he's looking really good here in round number 6, a chance for him to take the win. But Adrian Cheney now working on Mike Jenkins. Cheney, of course, won that first round in Prim.
And the problem test is going to be vision. With the roost and the dust and everything, you can be the fastest guy, but if you can't see, you cannot race. That's the first rule in desert racing. Well, guess what? It's the first rule when it comes to off-road racing. We see Mike Jenkins landing really hard, bouncing his front end. He's got to watch that because you'll tear your suspension up. What's great about all these different trucks is they run racing fuel. You know, a lot of them run VP C12, VP 110, and some of the Pro Lights run late model plus. But what's great is that they give you a range of fuels that you can run pretty much on any kind of motor that you want to run.
Well, as Johnny Greaves trying to pull his way up to the front, not really catching the rest of the field. And, you know, with that race fuel and these powerful motors, the big difference here when you get to this Pro 4-wheel drive category, there's a lot more dust and a lot more debris being thrown into the air because all of the wheels are driving.
Exactly, and also when you look at the throttle trace, like right there, that's the problem. As Johnny Greaves comes in there with all those drivers in front of him, he cannot see the track. They should have put more water down. I understand you can see that the skies are gray, that they're worried about rain. They want to get this race underway, but the drivers have to be able to see, and that's the problem with the guys that are back. But right now, Mark Jenkins doesn't care. It's a blessing. He's running away with it.
Mark Jenkins in the lead now over his brother Mike, and then Adrian Cheney holding down 3rd place from Scott Douglas. Can Mark Jenkins hang on and take the win here today? Well, lots more racing to come in our Pro 4-wheel drive category. Welcome back to Bark River, Michigan for TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. Round number 6, our Pro 4-wheel drives on the track. And this is Mark Jenkins coming to the white flag with 1 lap to go.
Mark Jenkins doing a great job. We're taking a look at Adrian Cheney, a replay of what happened earlier. All of a sudden we see parts and pieces flying, and Adrian Cheney loses his right rear. But with the all-wheel drive test, you can drive these things really hard. We watched Adrian battle off Scott Douglas and Johnny Greaves for over a lap on just 3 tires. He was all the way down to the liner.
Wow, that is a disaster for Adrian Cheney, who really was looking good working on the back of Mike Jenkins. But right now it's Mark Jenkins, the number 25 red and black Traxxas truck, on the final lap. Looks like he has a commanding lead.
Mark doing a great job. And you know what? This is an awesome day for Cooper Tire. Cooper hasn't been in off-road racing that long. You know, they've done a lot in a lot of other sports, but now if he makes it 3 more turns, he's going to make it a Cooper Tire sweep, and also for Traxxas. You got Keegan Kincaid, Jeff Kincaid, and now the Traxxas Pro 4 in Mark Jenkins. So great job to Traxxas Racing.
He got second here yesterday in round number 5, and unless something disastrous happens,
lightning could happen. There is weather.
It could happen. Mark Jenkins looks like he is going to take the win here, round number 6 at Bark River. And here he comes. Mark Jenkins takes the victory over his older brother Mike. Scott Douglas will take 3rd.
And Johnny Greaves brings in 4th place. I think something was wrong with Johnny. I don't want to take anything away from them.
Mark Jenkins takes the win. We'll catch up with Mark when we return to Bark River. TORC, the off-road championship on NBCSN, is powered by MagnaFlow. Find your next exhaust at magnaflow.com. By WD, watch your life on TV with WD TV media players. And by AMSOIL, for any engine. Buy now at amsoil.com. Fantastic race win here at Bark River for Mark Jenkins. He's down with Tony Buckhoven.
Well, here he comes. Mark Jenkins climbing out of the Traxxas truck. And he's a happy guy. He's got the checkered flag. Look at him in his teeth.
That's what I'm talking about, baby!
Some excitement down here. Mark
Happy
Jenkins
Mother's
on
Day.
top of the world this weekend.
Dad, I love you. Jack, I love you. Marley, Macy, Kenny.
We'll see if we can get him down here.
Salute you, Mama. Hey, where's your brother at? I'm bringing it home, baby.
He's bringing it home. There you go. A Traxxas sweep this weekend. Tell us what made your truck so magic.
Hey, this is endless efforts from the JBR crew, Jenkins Brothers Racing. They poured their heart and souls in this thing for the last 6 weeks. It was a little bit off yesterday. Johnny ran a great race. Compliments to him, but we knew we had more left. And we dug deeper. Second sucks. And we needed to bring home the top spot. That's a sweep for Traxxas, Pro Light, Pro 2, Pro 4.
Well, that's a very happy Mark Jenkins, and why not? He gets his first win of the season over his older brother Mike. Scott Douglas rounding out the podium here in Bark River.
Johnny Greaves coming in 4th. He was yesterday's winner and also the current point leader, but had a problem with a flat tire. I really want to congratulate Team JBR, Traxxas, and Cooper Tire winning all 3 classes today. I don't think this has ever happened.
Fantastic day here in Bark River. Looking at the points of our Pro 4-wheel drive, Johnny Greaves still holding off the charge of Mark Jenkins. Well, we had a whole lot of fun here in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Next, we move to the big house, to Crandon, Wisconsin. And that's for rounds 7 and 8 of TORC, the off-road championship here on NBCSN. Be sure to join us for racing from Crandon when we return. For Tony Buckhoven and Ricky Johnson, I'm Tess Searle saying, hope you enjoyed the racing. We'll see you back here for more.